Good afternoon. Hello, my name is Carla Matzdorf. I am admin to the group Overcoming Anxiety for Stressed Out Moms Who've Had Enough, and I'm also a certified health and life coach that works with moms to overcome anxiety. As you come on today, say hello to me. Thank you for joining me. I will be talking today all about self-care and how this self-care affects anxiety. So as you come on, as I said, say hi. Thank you for being on with me. I really appreciate your being here. We're going to talk about self-care today. Self-care is really important. We're going to talk all about why and how, what that has to do with anxiety, why you need it, and so forth. Okay. So I just want to make sure that I see myself in the group so that if you're commenting, I can see all the comments. Hi. Hey, Candy. Thank you for saying hello. Thank you. Say hi, everybody. Good to see you all. Thank you for coming on and for joining me today. Hello, Tina. Hi. Thank you for joining me. So we're talking about self-care today and what that has to do, how that affects anxiety. Okay, so good. So I like to start all my lives with a definition. And I forgot to silence my phone again. Oh, let me just put that volume down. Okay, good. So I like to start all my lives with a definition because I want us always to be on the same page. I want us all to understand what it is I'm talking about. And usually when I give a definition, it's my definition. The definition that I am giving is through my experience, my expertise. I did not get it from Webster or Merriam or whatever. Oxford is what I meant to say. So anyway, what is self-care? Self-care is basically what you do, the actions that you take for your well-being to be better physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, okay? So it's what you do to have a better well-being. But why do we have to have self-care? Why is self-care so important? Because I feel like everybody talks about self-care, right? You hear it all the time. Practice self-care. But why? Why is this so important? Because self-care, okay, now you always heard me talk about the anxiety side. I'm going to kind of mix the importance of self-care with how self-care helps with anxiety. I'm going to kind of put that all together, okay? You heard me talk about the anxiety cycle, right? So the anxiety cycle, and just in case you haven't, because some of you are brand new to me and you haven't ever heard me talk about the anxiety cycle before. So the anxiety cycle basically is, all right, anxiety can start from stress response, right? Starts from an event, from a happening, right? And then that event, that happening, depending on how you react to it, okay? When we are in a reaction way of being, okay? When we react, we are responding subconsciously. It's like an automatic response, right? So we just react. We don't really think about it. It's not a conscious response. We're just reacting. And our central nervous system, okay, it gets affected. Our central nervous system, if we do the same reaction all the time, okay, we stay stressed out. We have that same reaction all the time. We stay in this hypervigilant state. All right. So the thing is, if we stay in a very stressed out hypervigilant state, we're hurting ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Okay. Stress can really hurt us. Stress is actually the #1 killer, ladies. Stress leads to things like heart disease and diabetes and strokes, and it really affects our well-being. But how we take care of ourselves can prevent stress from us hurting ourselves, hurting our well-being, okay? So why is self-care important? Because we need self-care. We need to take care of our well-being, okay? So that we could be here and we could be good to take care of our loved ones and to, speaking about the spiritual part of it, we're all here for a reason, right? We're all here for a reason. That's what I believe, at least. There's a God. God created every single one of you. You're all important because he put you on this planet, okay, with a purpose, all right? God did not put you here to harm you and so that you could live a miserable life. We have free choice, all right? But we need to take care of ourselves, all right? So self-care is important, okay? Because we were called, all right, for a reason. We have a purpose, like I said. But if we don't take care of ourselves, how do we live out that purpose? We have free will. We have a choice in every moment of our lives, what we do with our life. Every moment we have a choice. So self-care is important so that we can be better, not just for ourselves, but for our loved ones, and so that we can be all that we were created to be, so we can grow our relationship with God and live out his will for us. How does self-care help with anxiety? Well, how does self-care help with anxiety is that what I said before was the central nervous system, okay? When we're stressed out, our central nervous system responds, right? Or should I say reacts. Our central nervous system, its purpose is to help us to survive. We need to survive. So when something happens and you react right away with, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can cope with this. I don't know if I can deal with this. How am I going to handle this? I'm in danger. Help, help. Right away, all your symptoms work together to help you. And it doesn't always feel that way. It feels like our bodies are working against us, but they're not, okay? God, we are in the image of God. He designed this. I believe he makes no mistakes, okay? There's a purpose for every system in our body, okay? And they're working just fine, okay? It's just that we don't understand all the time how they work and why they do what they do. And we misinterpret them, okay? So, so when we have self-care, all right, and we understand the anxiety cycle, we are able to tell ourselves, I'm stressed out. Now, if I don't take proper care and I let this stress build, right? If I let it build, it's going to live in my body. Are you all with me here? You all can understand that, right? A lot of stress is going to affect you. It's going to live in your body. You need to take the time for self-care, meaning you understand. Let me see if there's any comments, because everyone is saying hi, so hi, but I don't see any comments yet. Is everybody with me? Everybody understanding what I'm saying? Is it clear? Any questions, any clarity? Just make sure that you understand what I'm saying, okay? So, self-care, the things that you do, all right, affect who you're being in every given moment. The things that you do will give you an experience. So if you don't practice self-care, all right, and you let stress build, you have the potential of having a sickly body, a sickly mind and body. But when you practice self-care, When you practice self-care, you're telling the central nervous system, all right? You're doing things to calm the vagus nerve, to calm the central nervous system, to make your well-being better, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So what can you do? What are those things that you can do? So self-care can look like, I'm going for a walk. Self-care can look like, you know what? I find you toxic and I'm going to set boundaries for our relationship. Self-care could be, I'm really tired. I just need to rest my eyes before I can go on and do something else today. Okay? Or maybe even take like a 20-minute nap if you can. Self-care can be as much as, my finances are not in order. I need to do something about my financial situation so I could better support myself and my children. Self-care can look like, wow, this anxiety is really taking over my life. And I tried everything to overcome it. And I haven't had much success, maybe just a little bit. And I really need help. Self-care could look like getting yourself help, whether it's for anxiety or any other thing that you're experiencing that's affecting your health, your well-being. Self-care is what you do, the actions you take for your well-being. It's really important. The thing is, a lot of times, okay, we will hear that self-care is selfish. So when we hear that, okay, self-care is selfish, we kind of say, well, I'm not going to take care of myself because for some moms are under the impression, if I spend a lot of time, okay, a lot of money, working on me, all right, then I'm not focused on my children, on my husband, my partner, whatever else needs to be focused on. I'm just focused on me, okay? Or if I spend money, we have little money to begin with, and any money that we do get is for my children. It's for my husband. It's for the food. It's for the house. So I really shouldn't be spending money on me. So sometimes practicing self-care, okay, as a mom, we feel guilty and we feel ashamed. We might have done something as, you know what, I'm proud of myself. I didn't feel any anxiety today. I'm gonna go get myself a mani-pedi and just relax. And then after you do it, you feel so guilty and so ashamed because you rewarded yourself and you spent money on something like that. That money could have went towards something else. But ladies, all right, it's not selfish to practice self-care. Let's get into that. Because a lot of people say that and it keeps you from practicing it, and it's so important. But before we get that far, the other thing I wanted to state was the precursor to self-care. A lot of you are not practicing self-care because you're not loving yourself to do it. You're not loving on yourself. Now, that may sound weird because you're like, what? I have to love myself? Well, yeah. I mean, if we hate ourselves, I thought I silenced my phone. If we hate ourselves, now stay with me for this, okay? we're not going to take the best care of ourselves, all right? If you're hating on yourself, all right, let me give you an analogy, ladies. Now, in the New Testament of the Bible, okay, in the Old Testament, we have the Old Commandments, like, the 10 Commandments, right? In the New Testament, Jesus gave us the golden rule, okay? Not only are we to love our God with all our heart and mind, all right, and the spirit, okay, we are to love our neighbors. But how? We are to love our neighbors as we love ourselves, right? Jesus said, love thy neighbor as you love yourself. What do you do when you don't like something? Like, let's say broccoli. Who likes broccoli? I love broccoli, but maybe some of you hate it. What happens when you watch a movie that you hate? You probably turn it off, right? I don't like this movie. This movie sucks, and you turn it off. What happens when you're reading a book and you're hating it? You're like, I'm not going to read this book anymore. It's boring. I'm not reading it. I'm falling asleep every time I read it. When we don't like something, when we hate something, we give up on it. We ignore it, right? What happens when you hate yourself? What happens when you're not loving yourself? That's why loving yourself is so important for self-care. If you're not loving who you are you going to take the actions that are required, okay, to have self-care so that you can overcome anxiety? Is this making sense, ladies? Can you give me a 1 or say it a yes if you think this makes sense and you agree with this? Does anybody disagree with anything that I'm saying? I have let my physical appearance go. I don't get dressed up anymore. Just let myself go. I have no motivation. Okay, Candy. I get that. When you have anxiety, depression, taking care of your physical appearance is really, really not a necessity. Like you feel like, why bother? I get it. It makes sense, Angelina. Thank you so much. However, letting your physical appearance go, I get it because I was there. I understand what it's like to, my husband had to pick me up and throw me in the shower. It was bad, right? But when anxiety, depression, PTSD, insomnia, I can't even think right now. Any mental illness, anything that you are facing, okay? When it starts taking over your life, okay? That is a wake-up call. That is time for you to take action. But the thing is, the whole reason why I'm giving this live is because none of you are going to take that action if you're not loving yourself enough to take it. Treat yourself, right? Treat others the way you want to be treated. Love thy neighbor as you would love yourself. But if you don't love yourself, how are you going to follow that golden rule? So if we ignore the things that we don't like, that we hate, we get rid of the things we don't like, that means you're not going to practice the self-care that is required to overcome anxiety. Now, I didn't hear a lot about self-care when I was looking to overcome anxiety. I knew I had to regulate my dysregulated system, okay? I knew that I had to take actions to be different. But I didn't realize that was self-care. That's self-care, ladies. You know, when people tell you to breathe, when people say, you know, go to the doctor, breathe, or do yoga, or do exercise, and do whatever, you're not going to be motivated to do any of those things if you're not in the mood to take care of yourself. If you don't love yourself enough to do it. If you're negative every single day, getting up out of bed, my life absolutely sucks, I suck, I'm not worth it. Are you going to take care of yourself? Hard to do sometimes. I used to get massages and put masks on. Well, I get it, Patrice. You know, but this is not self-care. I mean, is not just physical appearance, okay? The reason of your self-care, okay? Because, all right, so some of you may have read my post that I put in on Monday. And if you haven't, please read that post. Because I saw a podcast where a gentleman, whose name is eluding me right now, and maybe I can find it. Yes, his name was Dr. Gregory Gifford, okay? And, you know, basically, one of the last things he said was that, he did a little segment about self-care. And in this segment, I'm trying to get his words. So self-care is more like self-worship for many people. Now, this is why I can understand some of you moms may feel guilty, okay? Or you may be ashamed for spending so much time on yourself, or having too much attention on yourself, spending too much money on yourself. Now, self-worship, all right, let me tell you something. It only becomes self-worship if it's the reasoning behind the self-care, all right? When you're practicing self-care to make yourself a better person so that you can be better, not just for yourself, but for your family, for your loved ones, and so that you could be a better service to God. That's not self-worship. That's becoming a better person. Because that's what God wants you to be. Okay? He didn't create you so that you can abuse your mind and your body. All right? That is something that we're doing by choice. We abuse our mind and bodies every time we're smoking, or we're putting, drugs and alcohol, or we're being negative. Okay, we're not meant to be so negative. We sometimes we do things that are not good for us. And sometimes we know what we're doing is not good, but we do it anyway. Why? I don't know. But it is a choice you are making. But the thing is to catch yourself, to know that I'm doing this, like I'm making this choice. So awareness is really important. To have the awareness, okay, that what I'm doing in this moment is probably not the best thing for my well-being. Okay? Second thing is, am I honoring my body, my mind, my body? Am I loving on myself? Would I tell my kids to do this to themselves? Would I, you have to take responsibility for who you are being in every single moment. Only you can do that. And the moment you say, well, I'm pissed off and I'm upset and I'm mad because of my husband, because of my boss, because of my children, because, you're giving them power. The only thing that can make you better, ladies, is yourself. Because you, and only you, okay, can decide who to be in any given moment. And the moment you see that, okay, I'm dealing with something really, really like harsh here, you know, like I'm dealing with a sickness. I'm dealing with the death of a loved one right now. I'm dealing with, you know, I'm about to go broke. I just lost my job, or I'm about to lose my house. I don't know where I'm going to live. I mean, those are real real worries, right? Those are things that, you know, we get very upset about. But worrying about it and becoming very anxious about it will never solve the problem. Self-care, okay, is also taking responsibility for who you're being, for what you do to help that problem, okay? Be a problem solver. Instead of dwelling on the problem, what can I do in this moment? Self-care? Maybe getting on your knees. Getting on your knees and surrendering to God, who is there waiting for you to say, I need your help. I can't do this without you. Anxiety is a lack of trust. So in Corinthians, all right, it does say, 1 Corinthians 3 does say, don't you know that you yourselves are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you? So every time we're not taking care of this, you know, I don't know what the right word is. We're poisoning, or we're affecting, you know, the vessel where the Holy Spirit dwells, okay? Where the Holy Spirit dwells inside of us. So we need to catch ourselves being negative, catch ourselves in that moment of not taking proper care of ourselves so that we can take right action. So we can go, oh, have that awareness, and we can choose that action that we're going to take. That's self-care that we need. It's not self-worship. If you need 10 minutes to unwind, if you come home from work and you're just so stressed out, okay? Your boss is breathing down your neck, or you know, you got so much going on. It's not bad for you to come home and say to your family, look, just give me 10 minutes, okay? I'm going to go in the bedroom, shut the door. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to rest my eyes. I'm going to relax. I'm going to get down on my knees and pray. Whatever you got to do. Because you're doing it not because you're worshiping yourself, not because you're being selfish, but because you want to interact with that family of yours and be the best version of yourself. You want to come out of that bedroom later and be like, okay, I feel so much better. I was able to decompress. Thank you for that. Now, let's make dinner. Let's have dinner together. Let's play. Let's do homework. Now you can be a better version of yourself. There's nothing wrong with taking a few minutes to love on yourself so that you could be better. If you do not practice self-care and you allow that stress to build, You're going to face the consequences of possibly developing a sickly mind and body. And also, you may feel disconnected from God. Because when we're anxious, we feel like He has abandoned us. We feel like we're alone. We don't know what to do. So this is why I give these life training, ladies, because I want you to have this information so that you have awareness. Start loving on yourself. Start practicing self-care so you can be better, not just for you. This is not just about you. No. But it is to help you be better so you can be better also for your loved ones, and so that you can do the work that you were put here to do. That making sense, ladies? Can I have a 2 or a yes if that's making perfect sense? And if you have any questions, please put them in there. I want to, how do you get out of depressive anxiety mode to care about myself? Wendy, that's a great question. So I teach the anxiety cycle. A lot of my life trainings show you how to be different. Okay. So I work on helping you become more aware of anxiety and why you have it so that you can take the proper steps to overcome it, all right? So to get out of anxiety and depression is to understand it so that you can take care of yourself, but you're not going to take care of yourself unless you're loving on yourself. So usually when I work with a client, okay, I have specific exercises that I do to help you understand what you love about yourself and how you can love yourself better. But I do want to share with you today, okay, Wendy, the first step is awareness. So just understand that, you need to have that love and respect for yourself. The second step is if you don't know, if you're the mom that's going, I don't love myself. I really don't know what I love about myself. Then you need to learn that. So I want you to grab a piece of paper. I want everyone to do this. And I probably have said this on every live I've ever done when it comes to loving yourself or having respect for yourself and doing self-care. You need to understand what you love about yourself. I want you to get a piece of paper. I want you to divide it in half. On one side, what do I love about myself? On the other side, what do I hate about myself? What needs work? Okay? I'm not talking about, I love the fact that I have blue eyes, and I love the fact that I look good in my jeans, or we're not talking about that, ladies. What do you love about yourself? Okay? If somebody said a eulogy about you, what would they want? What would you want them to say at your eulogy? How do you want to be remembered? What do you love about yourself? Write that down. In the second column, what do you know you hate about yourself? What keeps you from loving yourself? Are you somebody who maybe you're not always very honest, or you're not always, or trustworthy, or you're somebody who's always late for everything? I don't know. There could be things that you don't love about yourself. Now, the things that you love about yourself, okay, these might be things you love about yourself today. That list may grow over time. But I want you to recognize that you do love yourself. But you may not be loving everything about yourself. So those things that you don't love about yourself, why? What don't you love about that? And if it's because, well, Carla, it's not right, it's wrong, you know, I shouldn't be someone who is dishonest, or I shouldn't be somebody who, you know, who's not loyal, well, then what are you going to do about it? If this is what keeps you from loving yourself and taking better care of yourself, what step are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? Only you can make that change. No one is going to make it for you. If you want change in your life, ladies, you got to take steps to make change. It's not going to just happen. All of this making sense? I hope so. I really hope so. Self-care, really, really important. It's not selfish. No reason for you. You want to know what makes it selfish? All right, let me tell you when self-care becomes selfish. When it literally is just and only about you. In other words, you know, you in your heart, okay, you're not feeling like you're becoming a better person so that you can love and respect your family more, take care of your family more, or have a better relationship with God. You want to be a better person so that you can, I guess, boast about yourself to others, so that you can, be flashy and boast yourself and vanity, you know, it's for vain reasons. Does that make sense? You know, I mean, if you're going to do things out of vanity, that is where, like, maybe, you're right, you're doing this for selfish reasons. You know, you're not doing it for any other reason than just to make yourself look good. But ladies, if you want to overcome anxiety, I promise you, it will happen. But if you find yourself, okay, sabotaging your efforts, not taking the initiative because you feel guilty, you feel ashamed, you're not doing what needs to happen, you keep making excuses, you have to love yourself enough so that you can take that self-care, so that you can be better, take those actions that you need so that you can overcome anxiety. This is self-care. So you can come home from work or even after dinner, say, I'm going to go for a walk. Who wants to come with me? Self-care doesn't have to be just about you. You can involve your family. Okay? I'm gonna put on a YouTube video about yoga. Who wants to join me? Come on, kids, do yoga with me. Or let's put on music and let's have a dance party. Or let's read a book together. It's the reason you're doing this self-care, okay? That's going to matter. And if you're doing self-care so that you can be better for your family and be all that God created you to be, then eventually, over time, as you do more and you take better care of yourself, you're going to overcome anxiety. You will. And just in case you are confused about how to go about that and what steps, ladies, I have a whole program dedicated to what steps you need to take to overcome anxiety. I did back-to-back videos, step by step, what to do, and how to implement. And it's gotten a lot of success. So if you are still wondering how to do this, please get in contact with me and ask me about my 2 programs. One is a one-on-one, and one is that program I was just talking about. It's not one-on-one, but it's videos step-by-step going to tell you how to do it. Otherwise, you're going to have me there telling you how to do it. But let's get together, let's talk about it, and let me help you get there, because it is possible. And I know when you're in the depth of anxiety, when you're depressed, it seems impossible. How am I going to get myself out of this? But there was a time I was not functioning, but I loved my family so much, not saying you don't, but I was in pain. I wanted to take my life. I asked for God's help, and God showed me, you need to do this for your family, for me. He needed me for some other reason. I didn't know what that reason was until years later, and here I am, helping others, other moms, to do what I did to get to where I am. And where am I? I'm living my life better than I ever have. I'm 55, soon to be 56. I can't believe it. Dear God, how fast that year went. Whew. So, 55 years old, and people say, oh, getting old sucks. People say, don't get old because this hurts, that hurts, this. Old is just a number, okay? It's how you're taking care of yourself and who you're being. I'm living my best years now. I wish I knew in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s what I know now. And I'm just so happy to be available to help you. So ladies, you need the help? I'm here. I have my live trainings, which bring a lot of awareness. I'm on YouTube. So if you can't find it in the guide section, please go to my YouTube channel. Okay? The link is in the featured section of the group. Go to features, and there's a whole thing there. There's a post there with the link. Press that, and all the live trainings are there. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, comment, whatever you want, and I'm there to help you. Any clarity, anything that you need. Or if you need help with implementation, contact me, and let's chat about how we can possibly work together so that you can overcome this. Because it really is possible. Let's make 2026 the year of being a conqueror and overcoming and getting your life back. All right, ladies. Anybody have questions? Any questions at all? Wait, let me see. I gotta refresh, because I haven't seen. Oh, thank you, Candy. I look great for my age. Oh, my age. Oh, I don't know. I want to say, is that old? But, I guess 50, going to be 56, I guess that is old. But I don't know. I feel quite young. I don't feel 56. I actually feel better at 56 than I did in my 20s. So, it's hard for me to even understand my age. Because how is it that at 56 I feel better, and at 20 I felt probably like I was 56? I don't know what I'm supposed to feel like, but for somebody who's in menopause, who's dealing with grief, and I think I'm doing okay. So I'll take that. Thank you, Candy. But I don't see any questions. Does anybody have any questions about self-care? About anything that I said? And if you came on late, remember, there's always the replay. The replay will be available for 30 days, and then I download it to my computer and upload it to YouTube. All right? So please catch the replay. because this is really important what I discussed today. And I actually have other life trainings I did about self-care. I revisit topics all the time, and I'll probably talk about it again sometime in the future. So I turned 47 this year, and I know a lot of my issues are hormones, and it's brutal. Yeah, I mean, hormones will contribute to anxiety, depression. I mean, anxiety is multifaceted. You've heard me probably say that. It's usually our anxiety is not here for just one reason. The only thing is with hormones, it's probably not the only reason. So, don't think I'll just fix the hormones and I'll be better. You may want to work on other things. Well, that's why I like to talk to everybody individually and see what you're experiencing, because that really gives me an idea of what you're going through and what it is you need to overcome anxiety. So, ladies, if you have no questions, if there's no questions at all, I'm gonna go and watch the replay, and I'll see you next time. Okay? I'll just give you a second. Are there any questions? Because I don't see any. I'm just refreshing the page to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Nope. It doesn't look like it. So, ladies, thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you next week, all right? Be well, take care. Bye now.